Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to a second channel video. So I was recently riding my bike in London, as I often do, and I was stopped at some traffic lights when someone is walking across the road, kind of slowly, strangely, and staring at me, and what they eventually said was like, wait, hey, aren't you that geography guy? And I had to be like, yes, that's me. We had a conversation, he was nice, great to meet you, but it was really interesting because this interaction reminded me that like, wait, that more people seem to be recognizing me in public now for this second channel, this weird geography thing. And I guess it makes sense because this is where I have my face cam on screen at whole times. However, again, too many people now know what my face looks like. It's a genuine problem, in my opinion. I don't really like being recognized too often. It feels like it's being watched in some way. And so I figured, you know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to thin the herd out. We're gonna have to remove subscribers who are surplus to requirements, and I'm gonna politely ask you to unsubscribe. However, that doesn't work on most people, sadly, so we're gonna have to do one better than that and go through something that everyone loves, because people love controversial opinions that they agree with. However, when you disagree with controversial opinions, oh no, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna unsubscribe? Well, that's where today's video comes in. Because I wanted to address the all-important question of is the United Kingdom made up of one countries or four countries? Is the UK a country, or is it actually that England, Wales, Scotland are countries, and they just come together to make the UK, which is kind of a country, but not really? Because this is one of those really dumb debates people have on the internet all the time, and like as a British person, I feel at least slightly uniquely qualified. But just to prove an example, I did a community poll on the IBX2Cat community post. As you can see, about 3/4 of people say the UK is four countries, and 1/4 of people say it's one country. How is it possible that we disagree on something so basic as to is one of the world's, the fifth or sixth largest economy, is one of the world's more influential powers? Is it a country or is it not? How is that such a hard to answer question? Because we don't have this question with other countries. We never say, oh yeah, is China one country or is it actually like 40 countries? We don't ever say like, oh yeah, is Canada one country or is it like 10 to 13 countries? These are just not debates we have in other countries. So let's explain it right now. The United Kingdom is a country. It is a sovereign nation. As you can see, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, commonly known as the United Kingdom, UK, or just Britain, is a sovereign country, and even the article up here, it says the United Kingdom. This article is about the country. The United Kingdom is the country when you mean country in the international sense. When you mean country in the way you would describe Germany as a country, or Hungary as a country, or even Namibia as a country. However, the subdivisions of the UK, the NUTS Level 2 regions, are called countries. This is England. This is the largest by land area and population. It's the largest in population by a lot. This is Wales, and then this is Scotland. There's a whole other interesting thing here about the fact that Northern Ireland is not actually officially a country. It is, again, in international terms, it's described as a province. However, we teach school children in the UK. There are four countries in the UK, and so everyone just calls Northern Ireland a country, because who wants to teach school children there's three countries, and then there's a little bit of Ireland that split away 100 years ago, and we call it a part of the UK, and it's a part of the UK, but it causes a lot of issues, and there's a lot of terrorism. You don't want to explain that to 5-year-olds, so you say the UK is made up of four countries, and each of these countries has, at some point in time, minus Northern Ireland, existed as an independent sovereign nation. And this is where the confusion comes from. England has historically been a kingdom in its own right, that has ruled over its own lands, entirely separate to Scotland, who even, at one point, one of the most famous alliances in the world was between the Scottish and the French, because it was actually really disadvantageous to Scotland. They just, I guess, really wanted to have one over on England. But, this was an alliance between separate countries. These days, Scotland does not have it. Scotland could not form an alliance with the French because Scotland does not have foreign international powers, because that is reserved for, what's the term? Sovereign countries. And so, yeah, this gets really controversial really quickly, because of course if you're Scottish, and of course if you're Welsh, and even if you're English to some extent, you feel much closer affinity to your more local, area. In the same way that, I don't know, people from Western Australia are like, yeah, or Westralia, the Republic, are much more, in fact, if you're from Geraldton, you feel much closer to Geraldton than you do to, the idea of Perth or Australia. You feel closer to Western Australia than you do to Australia, and then you feel closer to Australia than you do to the whole oceanic bubble, and then you feel more closely to the oceanic bubble than you do to the rest of the world. Yeah, well, he might be from New Zealand, but he's better than someone from like Canada, or, I feel like Australians like Canadians. He's better than someone from Portugal. You can't trust the Portuguese, not compared to people from, what was the name of the place? Geraldton. Yeah, that's my offensive view on life. And so, yeah, in the same way, people feel closer affinity for their city in Scotland. There's a huge rivalry between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Then they feel closer affinity to Scotland, and then maybe they'll feel some affinity for the entire UK, and then maybe the EU, and then it cascades out that way. There's actually a funny thing about this, right? Like, I've explained this before. I'm from Bedfordshire, where there is only 2 major towns, and Bedford and Luton both despise each other. You meet someone from one of these places, and for some reason they're just like, yeah, the other town is terrible. There is no reason to go there. I literally have tried to get friends to go from one to the other. They're like, no, won't go. They're like, it's so ingrained in their spirit. But yeah, if you were on the other side of the country, you're over in Scotland, let's say, and you meet someone from the other county town, you're like, oh, well, you're from Bedfordshire too. However, if you then look at like, if you then met that person from Scotland while you were over in, again, we'll use Portugal as the example, it's like, oh wow, someone from the UK in this land of Portuguese people. And then if you met someone from Portugal while you were in Bolivia, you'd be like, wow, a European over here in Bolivia. And then if you met someone from Bolivia on in a spaceship where you are on a planet surrounded by aliens, you'd be like, hey, it's the human man. And yeah, so long story short, we have this like kind of thing about people, right? We make in-groups and out-groups all the time, and so that's why Scottish people are very strongly feeling that Scotland is a country, because they feel closer affinity to it, and it is a country. I mean, Scotland is a country in the sense that the UK calls its subdivisions countries, in the sense that Great Britain is made up of 4 countries, as the NUTS, national units of whatever, that is the subdivision of the United Kingdom, then it is a country, because we call these subdivisions countries. No other country can get away with something so confusing, but that's what it is. So is the UK one country or 4? It depends on what you mean by the word country. If you mean sovereign state with the ability to make its own international agreements and blah 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 blah, then and recognized by the UN, the United Kingdom is one country, of course, you idiot. If you mean country in the more nebulous sense, like, yeah, I actually mean country in the way that the UK uses countries to describe its individual regions, or if you mean historic country, because again, even though, let's pick a good historic country. Even though Catalonia doesn't exist now, you might refer to it as a country. You'd be wrong. Even though Bavaria is just a state of Germany, even it's very much not a country, you'd be like, yeah, I'm in the Bavarian country. Again, that's incorrect, but you can say it, and it's correct in a weird way, because it depends on how you mean the word country. And this is something we have so many debates on, and we don't even think about it. Like, I'm not going to talk about the cultural issues about, how people refer to themselves and others around them. So let's talk about the US, and let's get controversial again, because it's been too long since I've said something that is going to offend people and make them unsubscribe. So, people from the US are called Americans, right? We'll ignore the whole, do you mean America as in the country United States of America, or do you mean 2 continents, which in English, we never refer to them as one continent. It's always North America, South America, then the Americas. People from South America, in their language, will call all of us Americans, because their definition of the word America includes this, whereas most people's definition, if you're in English and you just say America, you mean the country. When you say North America, you mean the continent. We're going to ignore that, because that's the exact same thing, and people just ignore each other. They're like, oh, actually, Brazilians are Americans too. I mean, if they live in the United States of America, they are, because actually, just because your parents are from Brazil, if you are born in the United States of America, I have the controversial opinion that would make you, what, like, natively born, perhaps? Because, people from the US, like, you picture, like, like a European or something, but actually, like, the Native Americans are the ones who are on Native American reservations. Can we street maps into one of these and maybe get a good point right? People have this word Native American that they use, and I feel like it's really incorrect. Can I show you what I think a Native American looks like? If you will forgive my controversial opinions on the word native, because this is America. Who is native to America? People who look like this. I mean, as you can see, this is a very typical American right here. I'm sorry, I had to pick a large American that people wouldn't mind me being mean to. But you get the point. They're like, oh, no, he's not Native American, Toy Cat, because he's descended from Europeans. how far back? I actually looked into it just to make sure. It's at least 3 or 4 generations back that his family came from Europe. At what point do you just become a American or a Native American, right? Like yeah, again, this guy, and I'm sure this guy, and I'm sure this girl too. They were all born in the United States of America. Does that not make them native to the country? What other country are they native to? Are you gonna send this guy to Italy and see how well he does there? Yeah, I mean, they've got good food, but like, you get the point that like, you can't just be like, yeah, but actually they're native to somewhere else. No, they are native to America. They are Native Americans. We call these people Native Americans. Maybe a better term would be like feather Americans, because look at those lovely feathers they're wearing. And even that, right? Some people are like, oh, that's offensive, Toy Cat. You can't refer to them by a physical attribute that they have in the picture. It's like, yeah, that would be offensive, referring to people as a physical attribute. And imagine calling someone white because they're white-skinned, or black because they're black-skinned, or whatever else. But if you find that offensive, then be like, okay, no, we need to refer to the fact that they've been on the land much longer than European settlers, and so maybe historic Americans. There we go. And so, like, these guys aren't Native Americans, except when I say that, that's me asserting my opinion and trying to change language. Of course, these are Native Americans in the sense that most people use the term Native Americans. It's just that this guy is also a native. He is native to America, right? In fact, this guy is native to America too. I feel like one of the biggest losers from this whole, we're gonna make up a term for these people, are, America is not just a white country. There is a significant, one of the largest black populations in the world, in fact, and the people who are from it. I was gonna say this guy, he's from America, and we don't know where he's from, but actually Obama's father is directly from Kenya, the country. However, Michelle Obama, this is a perfect example, a lot of black people inside the United States of America don't know where their heritage is. At least with this guy, you can trace his heritage back or whatever, but because of the history of slavery in the United States, there are genuinely a lot of, black Americans who don't have a country to call home, and even if they did, it's been 300 years, they don't have a link to the culture in Kenya or in Jamaica. There's no direct link to these cultures, and so actually they need the term Native American more than anything else. You need to acknowledge that, if I move to America, I'm not a Native American. I'm a British American, we could maybe say, if I was a resident or citizen, whatever, but that's not what is the case. It just annoys me, this kind of we use different definitions for words, and then we act like people are crazy when they use the actual definition for that word. And it's like, no, you're using the word to assert some weird political dominance. When you say Scotland is a country, when someone asks not a country in the normal sense, they're actually trying to assert the idea that, yeah, Scotland should be an independent nation. When people say England is a country, they're trying to assert their nationalist myth that yeah, England #1 or whatever else. Same with the Welsh people. It happens a lot less there because there isn't as much of a historic country behind Wales. They did exist, but different form, blah 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 blah. You don't need to care about Wales. Imagine if you ask someone from Romania, is Transylvania a country? And they're like, Transylvania. Wait, in case you're curious, Transylvania is a region of Romania. I'm pretty sure it is. I hope I'm not getting that. It is. Okay, I'm good. So, you see, Transylvania, it is a country. And you're like, no, but isn't it a part of Romania? Romania is a country, and Transylvania is a country too, inside of Romania. So there's 2 countries. There's also all of the other region. I don't know. This is my Transylvanian accent. I'm sorry. I hope it's offending you enough to unsubscribe. Anyway, my long story short here is that it would be dumb. But because everyone just assumes that people know the UK's situation, yeah, England's a country, Scotland's a country, go on then. And yeah, we use these terms sometimes culturally incorrectly, but it's crazy because sometimes it does happen on a government-wide level. You can, again, the United States of America, even when the United States was formed, states was the go-to term to describe sovereign nation. Yeah, there are the many states of Europe, and the many states that control the world. These days, because of the United States, yeah, and so the United States were trying to imply we're the United Countries of America. There's lots of countries in America, but we're united under one very weak federal government that has now become a very strong federal government that is now much stronger than all of the states probably put together, right? But you get the point that that was the idea of the United States. It is a lot of countries coming together. That's why even to this day there's so many weird things you can only do by state. I learned a fun fact recently. Did you know driving licenses in America are only issued by the states? There's no federal driving license unless you're a diplomat, in which case no state will give you, has the power to give diplomatic driving licenses, and so you get them from the federal government, the only time the federal government issues driving licenses. Wow, so interesting. Same thing with a lot of like various layers of like, there's so many laws that change state by state. That's why you have to pass the bar or whatever in every state you want to practice law in. There's so many weird things about like, that doesn't seem like how you would expect things to work, because the United States is this weird country collection of like states that lob into a country, because country now means something different to state. And yeah, my point here is that there are weird ways that governments can use this too. And can I rant about this again? So did you know, for being fully vaccinated, what does it mean, right? It means against COVID-19, just in case. COVID? Yeah, that's what it's called. Just in case, you know, there's another disease out by the time this video is here, by the time you're watching this video. Anyway, so if you want to be fully vaccinated, you put a vaccine in your arm, 2 if it's any of the normal vaccines, and 1 if it's a Johnson & Johnson, and then you're fully vaccinated, right? That is what fully vaccinated means. However, being fully vaccinated as far as the United Kingdom government, this is an official website for the sake of travel. Let's say your boy likes traveling, then yeah, there is you have to prove your vaccination status, which is easy to do. And so to be fully vaccinated, if you were vaccinated inside the United States, all you need to do is have a CDC card showing you had a full course of an FDA-approved vaccine. Of course, I've done that in the USA, plus proof that you're a resident of the USA. Wait. Why do I need that? That doesn't change how vaccinated I am. I have the proof, but I don't have proof I'm a resident. And so according to the UK government, I'm not vaccinated. I've gone through this before. Long story short, I'm actually just going to get vaccinated again in this country. That's what I have to do to be officially, because I don't know why that was ever ruled in the first place. The amount of extra costs it would have incurred is a lot compared to just getting free, whatever. I'm annoyed about it. This is an example, but fully vaccinated should clearly mean one thing, but it doesn't, because when a government uses that, when an organization uses the term, they obviously have a very specific kind of meaning there. This is almost like a 1984 thing of like, like when the United States called the country states, they're kind of shifting your expectation and shifting the state's expectations of what and how much power they would have. When the United Kingdom calls each of the region's countries, they're helping to quell, to some extent, the secession movements. Like, oh, you're already a country, Scotland. You don't need independence. Or whatever else the case may be. And yeah, the final example of this is, of course, so if you don't know, an MP was murdered. He was stabbed to death. Very British way to die, I know. But like a Conservative MP was stabbed to death. Just a guy, like, in the UK, a lot of our MPs do constituent surgeries. They just talk to their constituents. Crazy concept, I know. Yeah, while he was doing this, he got stabbed to death. Brutally. I think it was 26 times, I want to say. 25-year-old man. And it's the second MP to die in 5 years, which is, like, genuinely nuts in my opinion. Anyway, long story short, one of the things he'd been promoting all of his life was for Southend to become a city, because when people say city, they usually mean a medium-sized, like, again, this is a city. Casper, Wyoming. It might actually legally be a city. It is a city. There we go. Casper, Wyoming is a city. And Vista West is, like, I know, like a town. It's a census-designated place. And so in America, a city is just, I believe there's maybe a layer of government you need, but you can just become a city. In the UK, you can't just become a city. Cities are designated by the Queen. There's this false thing that you need to have a cathedral to be a city, but that's incorrect, so sorry to break it to you, idiots. Anyway, so unsubscribe if that offended you. Anyway, so yeah, basically here is the list of cities in the UK with a population greater than 50,000. Actually, I referenced this before, so here's an interesting fact. If we go to the United Kingdom and then we search, I don't know. So even the smallest city in the UK is called St. David's, I want to say. I could be getting that mixed up. Let's see if that's correct. It is a city in the United Kingdom. There we go. And it's got a population of 1,600. Yeah, I got the right city. It's in Pembrokeshire. 1,600 people live in this city. But if we go to Luton, let's say, I think this is like the 3rd largest town that's not a city. As you can see, not only is it terrible according to people, there's a demonym, Lutonian. Anyway, so as you can see, the population of this place is 213,000, 100 times bigger, but it's not a city because being a city in the UK means being designated by the Queen. It's a very, very backward system. It's like one of the few ways the monarch really does have power, is deciding what isn't in the city, which does have some genuine benefits for said city. You never lose your city status. Fun fact, this is also why the London is not a city in its own right. Although, according to this map, you know what, should we do a quiz? How many UK cities do I know? London is not a city. There are 2 cities inside of London. There's the City of London, and there's Westminster. You lie, map. You're dumb. Wait, these aren't even cities. These are actually just... See, even this quiz got it confused. This isn't cities. This is, can you name settlements? There's only 69 cities in the UK, but it says there's 204. Just to prove that there's 69. You know, you saw it on the page. So how many settlements do I know with more than this number of people? I only know 1. Anything outside of London, I don't care about it. Anyway, so long story short here. Yeah, there's 51 in England, 6 in Wales, 7 in Scotland, and 5 in Northern Ireland. There's no special rights. The status of city can be a marker of prestige and confer local pride. That's all it means in the UK. However, because of the stabbing to death of a guy who wanted to make it a city, the UK has decided to make Southend a city. That's right. There's going to be a new city in the UK. We're going from 69. Nice. Is it 69? Oh, we really have lost out. We're going to 70 cities. Why did you have to stab that man to death? Anonymous 25-year-old man arrested on suspicious of murder. Like, can you just not murder people so we can have 69 cities? Is it so much to ask for? Anyway, so yeah, city is a weird, nebulous blob of a term too. And so yeah, people, like, I feel like if you're having a disagreement with someone, just try and define the words that you're using. And that's why if you ever read a contract, most of a contract is just going through and like defining what the words mean before you then work on the contract itself. That's what a legally tight contract is. It's like, we are defining the words. If you disagree with our definition, re-sign the contract. Fun fact, by the way, no one else reads contracts. I feel like I'm such a nerd when like someone sends me a contract and I'm like, let me give this a read. And then I actually like cross out segments so I think they're unfair. It's like, maybe if everyone read contracts, we'd be in a better place. Speaking of not reading contracts, I got a box from YouTube today. This woke me up at 8 a.m. I should have been awake at 8 a.m., I'll admit. But anyway, I got woken up at 8 a.m. to get a box from YouTube, and you want to see what's inside it? So even though you hit 100,000 subscribers last year, I think, when you hit 100,000 subscribers, again, how do you get a silver play button? You might read this. This is the one from my main channel that I don't get recognized for because I'm smart enough not to have my face in videos. As you can see, you can see the map in there. As you can see, it's congratulations for surpassing 100,000 subscribers. How do you get the silver plaque? Have a channel of 100,000 subscribers. It's actually more complex than that. You need to have 100,000 subscribers. YouTube has to verify that, whatever that means, and then you have to put in some shipping details, and then they'll send one of these out. Or you can pay YouTube money and they'll just give you one. Apparently you can just, you can pay them and they'll give you a certain number of play buttons for free, but then you have to pay, I don't know, it's a surprisingly large amount of money. Anyway, so, inside of this package right here, you'll find that YouTube today has finally decided, like, cause they just wouldn't verify my channel for so long. I have no idea what that means or why they didn't. But today, YouTube has sent me one of these. Look at this. Congratulations. Wait, let's take it out there. Presented to IBX2Cat for passing even 100,000 subscribers. I mean, we're pretty close to 200,000. But yeah, 100,000 is a pretty decent number because we'll keep the button. So I need something like, I don't know, 75,000 of you. Yeah, 75,000 of you to unsubscribe upon watching this video. We can do it, everyone. But no, more seriously, obviously I'm making a joke. Please don't unsubscribe. I need your internet attention too much. But yeah, no, for real, it's pretty cool to have like a physical representation of something. And thank you for subscribing and making that possible. And yeah, I mean, what even is a subscriber, right? Like, people say 100,000 subscribers like it's a big number. The fact that I have 100,000 subscribers is not why people recognize me in public. People recognize me in public because I clearly have had videos that have gone pretty far outside of my... You know, like, a lot of people have seen my face because my videos get lots of views. And really, subscriber is just a way of saying, I like this channel. 175,000 of you vaguely like this channel, and thank you for vaguely liking this. It's not even a real channel. I'm just talking over Google Maps. But thank you for liking it anyway. I appreciate it a lot. And I always keep wanting to remind myself to do something at the end of these videos, but I forget what it is. So as always, I hope you enjoyed. Second channel, don't care. Oh, become a give me money on patreon.com/toycat if you want to see more low quality videos, because I'll see you next time. Goodbye.